Hey MMS, so today we're going to be learning from Chapter 2, Lesson 7, percent of a number. In Lesson 6, we were learning to estimate percents with products, and today we're going to be learning how to solve exactly for the percent of a number. So before we get started, we're going to write down three really simple steps that we're going to be following every single time we do one of these problems. And we're going to show three different types of problems. Okay, so 3 steps, and you're going to use those steps every single time you try solving for percent of a number. So here it is. Find the percent of a number. So to find the percent of a number, we're going to follow these 3 steps that we're going to write down here. Step 1, write the percent as a fraction. Okay, step 2, we're going to divide the fraction into a decimal. Okay, so we have our first 2 steps. The first one, write the percent as a fraction. So we know that percent means out of 100. So we're just going to rewrite it as a fraction. And then the second step, divide the fraction into a decimal. So we divide the numerator by denominator. We use our calculator and we get our decimal. And the third step, we multiply. And I'm going to show you what you're multiplying. In addition to that, I'm going to highlight these because we're going to be following these steps, and it's going to be color-coded, so it's easier for you to tell where we're doing each step. Okay, so first problem we're going to work on is going to be to find 15%, find 15% of 300. So these are pretty easy numbers to work with, easy in the sense that it's 315, so it's not some random numbers, and we don't have decimals. So this will be a little simpler of a problem. The other 2 examples we're going to show are going to be a little more difficult. So find 15% of 300. First, we're going to rewrite this problem over here. So 15% of 300. All right, and I'm going to follow my first step. My first step says to write the percent as a fraction. So step 1, percent means out of 100. So I'm going to write 15 out of 100. And this is step 1. So I'm just going to put a 1 over here so we know this is step 1, matching with the blue. Color code this. Okay, and then in math, when you see the word of, okay, you should always think multiply. So when you see of, we're going to write a multiplication sign. and we're just going to drop down the number 300. Okay, so our second step is to divide the fraction into a decimal. So we have our fraction. Now we're going to divide numerator by denominator to get our decimal. So if we put in 15 divided by 100 into our calculator, we're going to get 0.15. And this was step 2. So I'm going to put a little 2, saying that it was our second step. Color code it. Okay. And again, I'm going to drop down my multiplication sign and the number 300. Okay, so our third step, the last step, is to multiply. We're going to multiply, put step 3 right here. We're going to multiply our decimal with the original number that we had. So that's step 3. Okay, so if you have a calculator, go ahead and use your calculator. Put 0.15 times 300, and you will get 45. So 15% of 300 is 45. Okay, we followed those 3 steps. We did exactly what it was telling us to do, and we were able to find the answer. Okay, so that was the first problem. We're going to do 2 more. Here's the second one. We're going to find 145% of 320. Okay, so this problem is using a percent that's over 100%. So that's why it's a little more difficult. So when using a percent over 100%, we're just following the same exact steps. Okay, so first we're going to rewrite the problem over here. And again, we're solving exactly. We are not estimating. Okay, first step, write the percent as a fraction. So I'm going to write 145% as a fraction, keeping in mind percent means out of 100. So I'm going to write 145 out of 100. It doesn't matter that this is over 100. I'm still going to write it, whatever number this is, out of 100. Okay, that's step 1. And then, of course, of means multiply, and I'm going to drop down my number here. All right, step 2. Divide the fraction into a decimal. So I'm going to divide my numerator by my denominator. Put 145 divided by 100 into your calculator, and you will get 1.45. Okay, and we are on to the very last step. Last step is to multiply. Okay, so that's step 3. Step 2. So step 3, just multiply 1.45 times 320, and you will get 464. And that is the answer. Okay, so 145% of 320 is 464. I'm going to quickly color code this. So we have our first step. We have our second step. And we have our last step. Okay, so as you can see, we followed the exact same 3 steps. Write the percent as a fraction, divide the fraction into a decimal, and then multiply. We're going to try doing this with one more type of problem. It's with percents under 1%. Okay. So the next problem we're going to do is to find 0.25% of 58. All right, so we're going to rewrite the problem over here. 0.25% of 58. And step 1 is going to be to rewrite the percent as a fraction. So just like we did up here, we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, percent means out of 100. So I'm going to write 0.25 out of 100. That's step 1. Now I can move on to step 2. Step 2 is to turn my fraction into a decimal. So I'm going to divide numerator by denominator. Put that into your calculator and you're going to get 0.0025. Okay, then you're going to, of course, remember to drop down these numbers over here, which I forgot. So of means multiply, and then drop down the 58. Same thing over here. We have a multiplication sign and the 58. This was step 2, and this is our step 3. So step 3 is to multiply. So we're going to multiply 0.0025 times 58. Put that into your calculator, and you're going to get 0.145. Okay? So 0.25% of 58 is 0.145. And we're going to color code real quick. So this is our first step. Our second step. And our last step. Okay, so to review, we have 3 simple steps, which are up here. We're going to write the percent as a fraction, divide the fraction into a decimal, and then multiply. If you do these 3 steps every single time, you'll be able to solve for percent of a number in any type of problem scenario.